All right, so in this video, we're gonna talk about why circumstances don't matter, and really, this is what this whole manifesting game is about, especially when you're reprogramming your self-concept and love, especially when you're manifesting an SP back, or really just overcoming limiting beliefs that are preventing you from receiving and shifting into the reality where you have everything you want. Hey everyone, it's Kim Velez, Conscious Life and Success Coach, and I am really excited to be here with you today. If you're new or not new, welcome back. Welcome for the first time ever. This is the best channel in my opinion. Of course, I'm gonna say that, right? I'm biased. But I really love to share my own personal experiences as I have been reprogramming my self-concept as well, and really dive in deep into the nuances of what really works, what this whole game is about, because there really isn't that many people that have recreated their SPs, and there is a bit of a different element when it comes to doing that process. So we're gonna talk today about why circumstances don't matter. And listen, I've talked about this before on my channel, but this is definitely a hot topic because a lot of people really struggle with the circumstance, including myself. Like, we have to remember that as humans, we experience life through our five senses, and we literally have been trained and conditioned since birth, right? Pretty much to whatever we have, whatever we're experiencing with those five senses is factual, it's real. And we're really undoing that conditioning. And we're saying the opposite. We're saying now, as spiritual people who understand the power of their mind, especially that your thoughts are really what's creating this whole thing, is understanding that everything is created here first, and then you experience out here. And that's why there can be a lag time in the 3D. So when we're focusing on this new reality, this new version of us internally that says, you know, I'm getting everything I want, or I already have what I want, this is who I am now, rather than the old self-concept or the old reality where you were, you know, not getting what you want, then it can take persistence. This is why Neville says persist until it hardens into fact, because just because a circumstance shows up in our reality that is not aligned or what we want to experience, or doesn't go with the end game of what we want, or could be the complete opposite, or might be just, you know, something we don't see any movement, right? With our five senses, it doesn't mean that you're not getting what you want. And this is where people get triggered. I was triggered, including myself. Everybody gets triggered. There's no human that doesn't get triggered when, you know, something is showing up in the 3D. But the more you reprogram your self-concept in the sense of, I am the operant power of my reality, and you really understand your power with your mind, as well as self-concept and love, so you feel worthy and valued enough, and understanding that I can have this, that this is who I am now. I'm choosing to be this person now, rather than the old state, the old self-concept of rejected, broke, not happy, miserable, whatever the case is, right? So when you understand that, then as you're being triggered, you eventually like jump back on the horse, so to speak, a lot faster than when you first start this game. And I know from my own personal experience, I could be triggered like 1 through a 10. A 10 would be like, you know, me falling on the floor ready to cry, or probably crying. And that would happen quite a bit. And I would be so wrapped up in my own insecurities and low self-concept. And then I would lash out, and I would respond from that place, reacting to my 3D and causing more of a hiccup, right? Because I focused. I had to keep focusing on that circumstance. I made that circumstance in my mind bigger than the power of myself, bigger than the power of my mind. And I made it as if it was true. So when I looked at it, I allowed it to hurt me, right? I allowed it to control my inner world. Now, even if I am triggered a little bit, because I am human, it's now, instead of being a 10, it's a 1 or a 2, and I bounce back within minutes now. So this is how you keep a lot of favorable momentum going in your reality. However, we have to still understand that when the circumstance shows up, it doesn't mean that you give up. It doesn't mean that this isn't working. And listen, the human part of our brain wants to judge things. It wants to say, what the fuck? I've been doing this for 3 months. Why is this still showing up in my reality? Well, it is. And you don't know if it's still a dominant belief system in you. You don't know if, it's your old story that is still just playing out and it's on its way out for good. But your job is still to keep your inner focus on the version of you that has what they want. And this is the practice. This is the practice of believing in that power more than believing in what you just manifested that just popped up in your reality. And this is how you get through those triggers. Those are the critical moments that to me made the biggest difference for me, is that I didn't allow myself when I was triggered to stay stuck in an old story. I would move myself mentally as much as I possibly could to focus on a reality where I am loved, wanted, and chosen, right? Focus on a reality where I have what I want already, knowing and trusting that one day my 3D will catch up. And that's the thing and you'll know the difference because you'll feel really anxious. Like when people get really attached to circumstances, it means they're trying to control and they want it to happen now. And if you're trying to control it, which you will at times, because again, we're human, it's part of how we're built and how we've been conditioned to be as human beings, is go out and get something, go make something happen, do it yourself. So when we're going through that process, you're going to be able to identify what is going on with you, especially if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling insecure, and you're feeling frustrated. Because when you're feeling those things, that means you need this to happen now, you're irritated that it's not happening now, and then you want to go in and affirm or do some technique to try to control the situation. That's where you want to move away from. And again, if you're there, that's okay, because eventually you'll teach yourself to move away from that. And you want to get more into that relaxed state, who knows they're the operant power, who knows I'm okay. None of this matters, right? Neville said, don't mess with the middle. To me, that's the middle. When you don't have your full formed manifestation, then anything else before that is simply the middle. So if it is not what you want, you keep going within and focusing on the end of what you want, especially the version of you having that. And you just keep persisting in that, knowing and trusting at some point it will show up. And that's really hard for a lot of people because they want it now. And again, if you're in that place where you're like, yo, I want this now, then that is an indicator for you that you're still in your dominant old story of self-concept, which is not living in the end, which is why you're feeling the lack of it, you're feeling the loss of it, which is why you want it now. So that is information for you to use to your advantage and recognize, if this is what's going on with me, and I'm letting this circumstance really shake me to the core, and then I'm feeling frustrated and ready to give up on everything, and supporting a story that's saying, I don't believe this isn't working, or you're getting mad at yourself, things like that. You want to recognize it, and then you want to move yourself. It's okay, I got this. I'm the operant power. I am loved, wanted, and chosen. I am wealthy. All the money's coming to me, whatever you're manifesting. And you're just going to keep moving yourself in your mind to that version of you that is already living that life, because then you already have it. So who would you be already having it? And you just have to really build your faith and trust in the power of you and your mind, knowing that you are the one that is creating or choosing the reality that you either want to experience or you don't, through your mind. So this is, we're not being tested from the universe. A lot of people, and I used to think that shit too with law of attraction crap, they'd be like, oh, the universe is testing you to see if you're ready. No. It's just either lag time because your 3D hasn't caught up fully yet to your mind, or you're still not saturated enough. There's still insecurities. And this is where you have to really be honest with yourself. Like, I go within all the time, and I'm always checking myself. And even, with my SP in my life, when I have been triggered momentarily since he's been back in my life, I recognize it because I don't like the way it feels, right? So I'm able to see it. And then if something shows up in my reality that isn't, exactly what I want, I don't sit there and say, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. What the fuck? I might as well just quit now. I'm like, okay, this makes sense. It's either just still the old story playing out, or maybe, when I was triggered 2 weeks ago, this is just, a little blip on the radar, right? Boom, that's it. And then I just go in my mind, live in the end, knowing at some point, my 3D has to fully conform. And that's the thing, is you really want to saturate your mind. You really want to dwell more in the story in your mind of who you are, having what you want, and the favorable outcome of what it is that you want, no matter what is showing up out here, because this is always fluid. Out here, and especially with a specific person, it's always changing. And your job is just to keep persisting and training your mind to focus on the end game more and more and more than what is right here in front of you. Because the more you're focusing on the end game, then what is right here in front of you will eventually dissipate, and you'll get more and more in front of you of the end game of what you actually want. So this is why circumstances don't matter. This is why they're not bigger than you. This is why you just go within, check on you, keep moving yourself, and trusting that at some point you'll get what you want, and being okay with that. Being okay with that. Start training yourself to look at the 3D as information, because it's such good information. And either way, the solution is always the same. And I say this in almost every single video. The solution is always the same. If you have something in your reality you don't like, you may not be able to pinpoint, you might be, but you may not be able to pinpoint, if it's still dominant in you or if it's just old 3D still needing to play out. Either way, the solution is the same. You keep living in the end in your mind through thinking from the end. And, if you like to do techniques like visualizing, scripting, whatever floats your boat, you do those techniques as well. Everything needs to be about you in the end, because you already have what you want, and none of these circumstances matter, because that is the middle. And when you have what you want, everything has been solved and you don't have to figure it out. You already have it. All right, so I hope you found this video helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe if you did, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.